Well, we're here. You're all here on the right day.
Yes.
This is exactly where you should be. Amy Mullins, actress and athlete and sex columnist. Dan Savage and comedian. Chelsea Peretti, and actress on Community. Yvette Nicole Brown. Dan, I'm going to start with you because you're the sex columnist. We're going to start at a very high level here today. If you're feeding somebody a penis cake, do you need to tell them it's a penis?
I believe in full disclosure and informed consent. So yeah, I do think you should let somebody know if they're choking down a big black.
You should. Okay.
Yeah.
I like to know if I am, personally. Yvette?
Pass me.
Okay. Chelsea?
I think once you've been around enough penises, like, what difference does it make? It's child's play, a cake of that nature.
It depends. If the flavor is that good, I don't know that I would really care what the outer shape of the cake is. I will say that. It's right. It's sugar and eggs.
Well, if it's presented in its whole form, I think that's one thing. I think you should let people know that's what you're bringing out. But if it's cut, it's a log cake.
That's right. It is a log
Nicely
cake.
done.
However, by Larry eating the penis cake, once he knows it's a penis cake, is that a gay act? Dan, sex columnist?
I don't think it's a gay act necessarily.
Not.
But, you know, obviously he's overcome his homophobia because the cake is so freaking delicious.
The cake is so good. The cake is so good.
It becomes a dietary thing at that point, I think, once it's out of its normal form. Although seeing it on the table, actually out there, and I'm eating it, I don't know. But I think that it became about what the taste of the cake instead of the shape of the cake.
But he was starting with the balls. He didn't go right into the shaft or the head. The slice he took was a testicle.
That's true.
What do you think that means?
That's true.
I think he's working his way up.
He's working his way up. So you start...
Teabagging and he's moving on.
He's teabagging, and we're not talking about those teabaggers, but he's teabagging, and he's just... that's an interesting theory. Chelsea, what do you think?
I mean, I think if the whole time he was eating it, he was just like, black penis, and then like licking the outside and stuff like that, then it would seem gayer.
What if it was a vanilla cake? What if it was white penis?
Wouldn't be that big.
It wouldn't be that big. There you go.
Small.
Be a cupcake.
Oh, I like that answer.
Oh.
Do you think that Larry and Cheryl were being, well, it was really Cheryl. Larry didn't want to take the family in, but was Cheryl being, you know, kind or naive to think that she could just take this family in, Chelsea, and everything would just be, you know, was it liberal guilt?
Yeah, I would think it has to be. I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems naive to invite anyone into your home and think it's going to turn out well.
Especially if Larry's there.
Yeah, it seems like a recipe for disaster. So yeah, I'm gonna go naive.
I think society right now has decided that anytime there's a problem, we're supposed to jump in immediately, which is great. But I think that they should have thought about the ramifications, because when they walked into the airport, it looked like they wished it was another family. You notice how there's one family there and they kind of look like...
Yeah, I did notice that, yeah.
So, you know, it seems to me that they did not think it completely through before they made the decision.
Uh-huh.
I think somebody with that much money should write a big check and
just buy them a house. Just buy them their own house.
Yeah, she was kind and naive.
Kind and naive.
There it is.
So is it kind and naive of Larry to think that going to the party on the second day is a good lie? I think it's a brilliant lie.
I thought it was genius.
Yeah,
I thought that was the best thing, because first of all, I want to say this about parties back to back. For a woman, it's a lot of preparation. I call it urban renewal. And you cannot do it 2 days in a row. It's really hard. Like, sometimes I sleep in lashes because I'm like,
it's urban decay.
Thank you. Yeah, you gotta go recreate the wheel 2 days in a row. So I kind of think it's kind of genius. You go to one party, you miss the first one, and then go to the first one first. So I think it's genius.
So you don't like to go to 2 parties in a row?
In a month, I can't go 2, but back to back 2 days,
well, why is it so hard to go 2 parties in a row?
Because I have to. I mean, you don't see me when I wake up, Susie. My goodness, I got to work some stuff out.
So it's just that. It's not the energy.
No.
See, for me, it's the energy that I have to talk to all these people.
That too.
You know,
also,
Amy?
in heels. In heels. There's that's the big asterisk at the end of any party.
Might be a little
what your back
overlap,
is doing.
Don't you think? Like, they're the same people go to the same parties. They could have had one big party because everybody went to the same, everybody's party anyway.
Right.
So,
right.
You know.
Chelsea, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, the size of the size of the 2 men, Ted Danson's character and Funkhauser, I thought was really, that's the only reason they couldn't really get out of those parties, was because they were blocking the door physically. You will not leave.
Especially Marty Funkhauser. Bob Einstein's a big guy. He's a big guy. Do you like parties, Chelsea?
I do like parties, but if I don't feel like going, I have no problem just going, oh, I wasn't in the mood to go to a party. Like,
Really?
Yeah, I have no I have no problem.
Wow, you're so evolved.
Yeah, I'm really awesome.
So you don't make up lies?
No, I will sometimes be like, I had too much work or whatever, but sometimes I just, I wasn't up for a party, so I didn't.
Wow.
End up places I don't want to be all
That's
the
so
time.
Larry. You know what? There's more to discuss about this when we come back with Yvette and Chelsea and Amy and Dan. We'll be right back. We are back with Amy Mullins and Dan Savage and Chelsea Peretti and Yvette Nicole Brown. Okay, Jeff says that he's going to use the excuse for Sammy, our daughter, well, not my daughter, my fictitious character's daughter, to get out of a party. And Larry says it's really the only reason to have kids, which I think is kind of, there's a little bit of a truth to that.
You know what's funny? I don't have kids yet, but I use my mom as an excuse. With
That's
her
a good
permission.
one.
She literally will say, well, tell them I'm sick or tell them, you know.
Yeah,
So
I do that to my kids.
Yeah,
I say, use me.
Yeah,
Use me.
Use whatever you have.
There's an ethical thing, though, in this breakdown, because I think using kids as an excuse is great unless it's a health issue. Like, I think that's bad juju to say, my
Jinxing.
kid's sick. Like, you say, my
Well, you don't
kid's got
say-
this violin recital and I really got to go.
You don't say your kid has leukemia because you're just tempting fate.
Right.
But my partner and I, we have a kid, and when he was very young, it was just easy to say, the kid's got a bug. We're not going to be able to leave the house tonight.
Yeah, he's got the sniffles.
And it was actually a fringe benefit. You know, having a kid is very exhausting.
You changed all
And
those diapers.
If you can, like, short circuit the
Use
whole
the kid.
conversation about why
Yeah,
you're not
so true.
coming to the event and just saying the kid's sick, people are like, oh, all right. And half the time they know, well, they might be lying, but they have a kid.
But
So
they have
we
a
don't
kid.
even want
Kid
them
is
at the
right.
party.
You know what else is a perfect excuse, and we dealt with this in another episode, death of a parent. You know, when my dad was dying, I got out of everything. It was like the greatest excuse in the whole world.
Oh, I don't know.
So he didn't die in
But
vain.
he was dying. I mean, it was not a lie.
Yeah.
You know?
But you used, he really was in, like, having a crisis at that moment, or did you
Yeah,
just, okay.
he had a long, horrible cancer
Okay.
death, and I was in the hospital all the time. But some nights I didn't feel like going out, even if I wasn't in the hospital.
Right.
I was like, oh, I'll
Well,
be in
that's
the
true,
hospital.
because mentally you probably weren't at your best anyway.
That's
so
true.
There you go.
I say
All right.
use any excuse you can, but not Chelsea. Chelsea just is the truth teller.
Yeah, I've never told a lie, so I'm trying to relate to
You've never?
you guys, and it's tough.
No, she's
tough.
lying.
Some sort of Tourette's.
Stealing a
pretty
lie.
honest. I'm pretty honest.
What
I
about
don't,
stealing a lie?
Well, I
Jeff
just,
and Richard Lewis steal Larry's
it.
The,
lie.
Loved it.
the lying is fine, it's the plagiarism that's bad. You can't take somebody else's lie.
And I think,
Come up with your own lie.
I feel
Be
like
creative.
Larry could have gotten away with it if the other two hadn't shown up. You know what I mean? Like, it was almost plausible until Jeff and you came in. It's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? I think that's when Funkhauser was onto it. So I think that if you're going to choose that lie, you need to make sure no one else knows about it so you can just ride. And I'm not saying you should lie.
proud, but Larry was proud of it. He thought it was the greatest
For
lie
him,
ever.
for him, he was proud. Like, this is great for me.
but
you
I
know?
think it helped him that they all showed up, because then it was like, oh, maybe there was a typo on the invite. A lot of people made the same mistake.
And you know
so-
what? And I thought that also, Chelsea, because Larry and Jeff talk daily. So they
Right,
could have said, well, tomorrow's the Funkhauser party. And they
Right.
could have been in cahoots about
What was
that.
really going on in those scenes, though, was no one would risk saying out loud the truth, which is, we lied to you, and then the hosts, the aggressive hosts, getting the revenge by making them stay.
Stay,
Because they
yeah.
knew that they were being lied to, but,
Right.
but nobody ever, like, just came out with
Wouldn't
it.
have happened if she was there, Miss Truth Teller.
I would have, yeah.
And making them stay and play the newlywed game. I mean, and asking a question like, which one of your friends' spouses would you want to sleep with? Is this a recipe
was
for
icky.
disaster?
It's the great lie at the heart of heterosexual marriage, that you don't want to sleep with anybody else. That's the lie you're required to tell
What are you
each
talking
other.
about?
In
What do you
most
mean?
heterosexual marriages, the lie you're required to tell each other. And that question was just stomping on a landmine.
Is that the lie, or is it that I may want to, but I will not?
That's it. It's the
Because
choi-
the
it's-
vow
it's that
is
you make
I
the
will
choice.
forsake all others. So I think it's understanding
But we
that
understand
you're
Do
going
you know
the
what
vow
I
is-
always thought? I always thought that if the vows were love and cherish and you will never have sex with anyone else for the rest of your life, nobody would say I do.
They think about it. They think about it long and hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you married, Chelsea?
Oh, no.
No, that's why you can't lie. Once you're married, you have to lie.
I'm sure I would if I ever got married.
Hold
I'd
out.
probably lie a lot.
But what do you think about the newlywed game? That was before your time.
I think no matter what a guy says about who he wants to sleep with, like, one of my exes said this girl was so gross when we were going out, and that's like the first person he slept with when we broke up.
Probably because she was
Doesn't
gross.
matter what they say, they want to have sex with anyone attractive.
You think that's true? Do
Yes.
men want to have sex with gay, straight? They want to have sex with anyone who they're attracted to.
Yes.
They see that person and immediately think sex.
I mean, not all.
How are
They
you
don't all
shocked?
do. They don't all act on it.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
But they all wanna.
Acting.
I mean, being in love and making a monogamous commitment means you will refrain from sleeping with other people. It
That-
doesn't mean
that-
you don't
that's what I'm
desperately
saying.
want to.
You know what? I am in love with all of you, and I'm not going to sleep with any of you.
Oh, yay.
And thank you so much for being here. And with that, our discussion is over.